Have you ever just stopped and wondered how the internet really works? I'm not talking about websites or apps. I mean the deep down plumbing. How does an email from you find its way to someone on the other side of the planet in literally the blink of an eye? Well, let's pull back the curtain and find out.
Welcome to Super Courseva. Unlock the secrets of the internet and master computer networking. Let's dive in.
I mean, really, think about this for a second. It's not like there's one single perfect cable connecting you to every server on Earth. Stuff breaks, undersea cables get cut, power grids fail, routers just die. So how on earth does your data instantly, and I mean instantly, figure out a new way to get where it's going?
And that right there is the fundamental problem. The internet isn't some static, unchanging map you can just print out. It's a living, breathing, totally chaotic system where paths are breaking and new ones are forming every single second. You could never, ever have a team of people manually updating the routes. It would be completely impossible.
So, to deal with this constant chaos, the machines themselves needed a way to talk to each other. They needed to invent a language so they could automatically update their own maps of the internet with zero human help.
In that language, it's called a routing protocol. You can just think of it as a set of rules that lets routers, the traffic cops of the internet, constantly chat with each other. They're saying things like, hey man, that path to the Google servers is totally jammed up. You gotta go through Atlanta instead. It's the magic, automated solution to all that chaos.
Okay, so before these routers can start sharing maps or gossiping about traffic jams, they need to know who they're even supposed to be talking to, right? We have to draw some lines on the map and define the boundaries for these conversations.
In the networking world, we do this with something called an autonomous system, or just an AS for short. And honestly, the best way to think about an AS is like a digital kingdom. All of Google's thousands of networks, that's one kingdom. Your internet provider, say Comcast, they have their own totally separate kingdom.
And this is a really important distinction. There are special rules for communication between different kingdoms. That's how Google talks to Comcast. But that's a story for another day. Today, we're focusing on the interior protocols. This is the language routers use to talk to each other inside of a single kingdom. How does one Google router talk to another one 1,000 miles away?
All right, so this is where things get really interesting. Because when it comes to talking inside the kingdom, two rival philosophies emerged. The first, and much older approach, is something we can basically call routing by rumor. Or, my favorite way to think about it, the gossip method.
Now, the technical name for this is a distance vector protocol. And I know that sounds super complicated, but the actual idea behind it is incredibly simple. It really all boils down to one single rule.
That's it. That's the whole philosophy. Each router in this system has like extreme tunnel vision. It has absolutely no clue what the whole network looks like. The only thing it knows for sure is whatever the routers it's directly plugged into are telling it. So here's how that plays out. A router makes a simple list of all the places it knows how to get to. Then it just hands that list over to its immediate neighbors, and that's it. Those neighbors then take the list, add their own travel time to each destination, and then pass their new updated list on to their neighbors. The information just kind of trickles through the network, one hop at a time.
And this leads us to the absolute perfect analogy. It's a digital game of telephone. Think about it. Each router isn't getting the original pure information. It's just getting a second-hand, third-hand, maybe 100th-hand summary from the guy next to it. You just have to trust that what your neighbor is telling you is the truth.
And just like in the real game of telephone, this has a huge flaw. It is painfully slow to react when something goes wrong. If a network way on the other side of the kingdom suddenly goes offline, it can take forever for that bad news to gossip its way all the way across the network to everybody else. We call this slow convergence, and it's a massive problem. So, obviously that slowness was a deal breaker, and it led engineers to ask a simple question. What if we did things completely differently? Instead of relying on rumors, what if every single router had its own perfect up-to-the-minute map of the entire network? Let's call this the GPS method.
The technical term here is a link state protocol, and it represents a total revolutionary shift in how to think about this problem. The idea is to stop trusting your neighbors and just get the full, unfiltered picture for yourself.
So forget only knowing what the router next to you says. The entire logic of a link state protocol is that every single router will build and maintain a complete, 100% identical map of the entire kingdom in its own memory. We're talking total, godlike knowledge of the network.
And the process here is just night and day. Instead of passing around big lists of routes, each router simply shouts out the status of its own direct connections, and it shouts it out to everyone. All the other routers hear these little updates, they collect all that raw data, and they use it to build their own map. Then with that perfect map, each one calculates the absolute best path all by itself.
So, if the gossip method was a game of telephone, then this is Google Maps. You're not stopping to ask a stranger for directions. No way. You are looking at a live satellite view of the entire city, with all the traffic, all the accidents, all the construction, and your phone is calculating the absolute fastest route for you based on all available information.
Now, you might be thinking, well, why didn't we just do this from the start? The GPS method sounds way better. And for a long time, there was a big trade-off. The gossip method was simple and cheap. It didn't take much horsepower to run, but the GPS method, that was expensive. Building that entire map and constantly recalculating the best path took a lot of CPU and a lot of memory. And back in the day, that was a really big deal.
So what changed? Why is the GPS method the standard now? It's simple, really. Our computers just got ridiculously powerful and cheap. The processing power inside even a basic router today is just astronomical compared to what it used to be. The cost of running the GPS method became so tiny it was basically free, and its benefits, that incredible speed and accuracy, became impossible to ignore.
Okay, so let's put these two philosophies side by side. It's time for the final showdown: gossip versus GPS. Let's see how they stack up.
This table just lays it all out perfectly. Knowledge? Gossip only knows its neighbors. GPS knows the whole map. The method? Gossip sends its whole routing table. GPS just sends little status updates. The analogies are perfect. Rumors versus a satellite map. But look at the last line, speed. That's the knockout punch. Gossip is slow to react, while GPS gives you lightning-fast updates.
So, what's the verdict here? I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? While the gossip method was a clever idea for its time, the modern internet absolutely demands the speed, the accuracy, and the total perspective of the GPS method. Link state protocols are the undisputed champion today because they can react to the internet's chaos in near real time.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question. We evolved from relying on local rumors to having a perfect satellite map. But as our networks get even faster, even more complex, and even more critical to our lives, what comes after the GPS? What kind of map will the internet of tomorrow even need? Thanks for watching.